Happy 4th of July, everyone, and welcome into Durham Park. I'm Adam Gotkin, your host here on Pregame Tomahawk Talk, ahead of the Bourne Braves taking on the Wareham Gatemen. As things go here in the Cape Cod League, this is a rematch from last night's game to try and deal with traffic and not make any teams have to drive over an hour. You play your rival, and so the Braves and Gatemen are going at it for the second time in as many days, which is a very interesting thing. We very rarely see teams play back-to-back games in summer ball, so maybe we start to see some emotion from these guys. It should be pretty fun to watch. Last night, it was a Gatemen 8-6 victory. That was a pretty interesting game, one that we really haven't seen this season, where a Brave starter struggled at the beginning, gave up 6 runs in the first 2 innings, but then the Bravos battled back, which we haven't necessarily seen much of this season. So some goods and some bads from last night's game. Let's start you off here on Pregame Tomahawk Talk from highlights from Spillane Field.
Sparks' 2-1 pitch, ground ball towards Penny and rolls into left field for a base hit. Jace Reinhardt, his 4th ribby of this season, scores Bozer, and the Gatemen strike first here at home. It's 1-0.
It's always good to catch a home run. I haven't gotten my fair share of balls at, professional games or minor league games, but great moment.
First pitch to Early. This one's a home run, and Jeremy Gay's not going to catch it. He's over here. This one's way gone. Early sends it to the moon. A 2-0 Gateman lead on his first blast of the summer. Packed house here from Spillane Field, and the Gatemen loving it early. Every base occupied. Nobody out, and Sparks delivers on the 2-2 pitch, and Bozer drives it deep to right field. Conrad's back at the track, looks up, grand slam! The Gatemen pouring it on here at home. 5-0 on the Bozer grand slam. What a start for Wareham. He steps back in, and McGuire looking for out number 2 of the inning. 1-1. Conrad drives it right center field. It's going to get down in front of the center fielder in Summerhill. 1 run scores. Here comes Penny. He's going to score. It's a 2-run single for Ethan Conrad, his 7th RBI of this season. And the Braves now a 4-run game at 6-2.
Middle of this Bourne lineup. Here's the 3-1. Barthel fly ball to left field. That's Jace Reinhardt in straightaway left to make the catch. The throw will come home. It's cut off by Bobby Bozer as Blake Barthel drives in his first run as a Bravo. A sacrifice fly to bring home Conrad and make it 6-3 Wareham. West deals the 3-2. Curveball past Penny and up the middle for a base hit. Desereau will score. Summerhill around third. The throw from Jackson to Grady at second. And it's another 2 RBI hit for Wareham. This time for Bozer, he's up to 6 RBIs tonight as the Gatemen lead 8-3. 1-1. Conrad laces one into right field. That's a base hit. Penny around third. He's going to go to the plate. The throw will be cut off. And Ethan Conrad with another RBI single here tonight. This time it brings home Penny. And it's now 8-4 in favor of the Gatemen. 3-1 pitch to Barthel. Ground ball to second. Desereau, the only play at first. He makes the throw. And add another RBI for Blake Barthel. He brings home Stanfield on the 4-3, and it's now 8-5. But he's up in the count 1-0 after that first pitch ball. From Jackson Lucas on the mound. He finally throws over to first. It gets away from Putnam. Here comes Hartle to the plate. He scores as Viderick will go from first to third. The throw from Putnam not in time. Here we go. It's now 8-6 on the error by Lucas. 2-1 pitch from Suzak. High chopper to first. Putnam will field, flip to Suzak, and that'll do it from Spillane Field. The Gatemen went up 6-0 after the second inning. The Bravos clawed their way back to within a 2-run deficit. But in the end, the Gatemen hold on to an 8-6 in Game 1 of this 2-game set.
So we continue on here on Pregame Tomahawk Talk. I'm now joined by the 2 best-dressed men here at Durham Park. We got Nathan Schwartz and Cam Manna. You may not be able to see it, but Cam has got some awesome USA swim trunks on. pretty good in my opinion. Well, let's get into the actual game itself. It's an interesting one because these teams played last night. You rarely see that in the Cape Cod League, but it was an 8-6 Wareham Gatemen victory.
Yeah, a lot of positives, a lot of negatives in that game for Bourne. Let's start with the positives. A great comeback effort, 6 runs after Wareham went up 6-0 after that Bobby Boza grand slam. This team hasn't shown a lot of that comeback effort throughout the season, so I was really pleased to see that shape out. But then also you give up those 6 runs to begin the game. Nolan Sparks didn't really have his best stuff last night. I thought the bullpen did a good job of settling things down, keeping the team in the game, and then in the end we talked about that 9th inning last night. Just can't have that approach going into this must-win game.
You mentioned it a little bit there with the Braves going down 6-0. We haven't necessarily seen this team go up big early in a game yet, and when we have seen them go down, we haven't really seen them battle back. It'd be good to see this Bravo squad kind of just jump out to an early lead and just take the game early on.
And that's been the main issue right now. And for Bourne, they've had 6 3 or more run losses so far this season. This was the first time last night where the Braves actually scored more than 5 runs in a loss. So we haven't seen the offense explode in a loss as it kind of did last night, back and forth. Late we saw some heroics from the offense, but the Braves have yet to have that big push early or a big push late. And last night was the first glimpse we saw of it. And here against the Gatemen, it's the number 1 offense right now. They're playing really good baseball. They're on a high note. They had a lot of momentum last night. The Braves here on the 4th, you have to snap a losing streak quick, and that's what good teams do.
Yeah, and we'll see if Joe Arriola can have a good start today. We've seen a lot of guys start in the bullpen this season and then get a start and be successful. Can Arriola do it as well?
I don't know. We're going to find out, and that's the big question, right? Because Arriola, in over 30 appearances with Wake Forest across 2 seasons, has yet to make a start for them. He did make 5 last summer in the Coastal Plains League, but we really don't know what we're going to see from Arriola. We don't know how long his leash is going to be. We don't know, just what's going to happen at all. So I'm really intrigued to find out.
It should be really interesting to see. Stay tuned here on Pregame Tomahawk Talk. Adam Gotkin now joined by Ben Hartle here on Pregame Tomahawk Talk ahead of the Bravos taking on the Gatemen. Ben, you're a guy from the Midwest. You go to school at Kansas, and now you're here on Cape Cod for July 4th. What's the experience been like for you so far?
It's been great. Long road to get here, literally pun intended. But no, it's been great. Took a little few weeks off to get my body right, but now it's go time. It's ready to go, ready to compete, and it's been great so far.
You spent a couple years at the junior college level and then leaped up to the Big 12. What's the adjustment like, going from one level of baseball to another?
Yeah, of course it's a big adjustment. It's game gets faster, but it's still the same game you play from when you were little. So just the way you go about it. But yeah.
You're a catcher. It's a pretty difficult thing to be a catcher in a league like this because you're trying to get adjusted to pitchers that you just met a couple of days ago. What do you do to try and learn your pitchers and get to just, meet them and get that chemistry going pretty quickly?
Yeah, it's being intentionally relational. Be very intentional of how you speak to them, what their in pitch, what their out pitch is, what different tendencies that they have, and also just trying to be their friend.
And, inside the dugout, you're a new guy here. The Cape's an interesting place. You have a lot of guys coming in, coming out.
Yeah.
What's that team chemistry like inside the dugout, and how do you kind of keep it going when there's some guys coming in and out?
I think it's great. I think it's an open arm kind of thing where we're all here. We're all here for the same goal, to win. And I think that's kind of a really cool aspect that guys are in and out.
When you join a team like the Braves, who have had a couple struggles, have had some issues so far this season, what do you try and do to try and turn things around?
Yeah, I kind of see it as an opportunity that we have really kind of the ways up, really. So it's a way that kind of your back's pressed against the wall. We're just trying to win some ball games and kind of gives you that edge.
And tonight, you guys are playing Wareham for the 2nd straight game. It's a pretty uncommon thing in summer ball, especially here in the Cape League. Does that make things more fun at all when you get to play a team for the 2nd game in a row?
For sure, especially how the outcome was yesterday. It gives you that more chip on your shoulder that you got to get this one.
All right, well, thank you very much, Ben.
No problem.
Adam Gotkin now joined by Brennan here on Pregame Tomahawk Talk. Sean, let's get right into it and right into Wareham's starting pitcher. It's a guy out of Florida State who's got some pretty filthy stuff.
Yeah, Yoel Tejeda Jr. This past year, his stats didn't necessarily jump off the page. He had just above a 5 ERA in 19 2/3 innings, but he was taken in the 19th round of the 2022 MLB draft by the Pirates, so that means something, right? They're not going to take him if they didn't see something. And in the Cape, he's only had 1 start, but it was a good one. 4 scoreless innings and 5 strikeouts on June 27th. So his 2nd start today. And we talked about Wareham's pitching being a little shaky yesterday, but I think they'll have a good start here today.
They'll need a big start from him today. Now over to the other side of things, Wareham They won pretty much because of their early scoring yesterday. 5 runs in the second inning, including a grand slam, and the Bravos just could not come back from that. To win today, Bourne really needs to, early on in the game, limit hard contact.
And that's what head coach Scott Landers said yesterday. He said it's hard to come back when you're down 3-0 or 6-0, excuse me, after the first couple of innings. Obviously, we saw them battle back, make that a game. It was 8-6 the final, but this is a team where if you allow base runners on, the Gatemen will make you pay. We talked about their offense yesterday, and that might fly. Maybe you can run into some early jams against some other teams, not the Gatemen. They hit well, and they showed that yesterday. I mean, they just piled it on early, and it resulted in a win for them.
The Gatemen are the top team in the West Division for a reason. First pitch coming up at 6 p.m. here from Durham Park.
Let's go, baby.
Go.
No hiccups today.
Dub.
America's pastime on America's favorite holiday, as the Bourne Braves look to get back on track in Game 2 of this 2-game set against the Wareham Gatemen. And we wish you a happy 4th of July and welcome you to the broadcast porch here at Durham Park with Cam Manna. I'm Nathan Schwartz. Game 2 of this 2-game set, Cam, a huge game for the Bravos.
Huge game for the Bravos. And we go back to last night, and it was a tough start. We always talk about this pitching staff having damage control, and they've done that of late until last night. We talked about the bullpen. They did a good job keeping themselves in that game, but the Braves just did too much to hurt themselves early, and this Gateman squad played some really good baseball right now.
And a big roster change for Bourne from yesterday to today. Jack Penny, who has been hitting leadoff for the better part of the last 2 weeks, no longer with the team as he prepares for the MLB draft.
And Nate Wang will replace him out of Boston College. He'll be batting in the middle of the order tonight, playing third base. Clay Grady will now play shortstop. That's something, too, for the Braves. Clay Grady's the only true shortstop on this roster for Bourne, so how much playing time does the Hokie get? And then Blake Barth will bat first tonight and replace Penny in that leadoff hole.
Let's talk a little bit about this comeback effort last night, because we haven't seen that a whole lot from this team. It seems like every time they've been down by 2 or 3 runs, they've been out of it. But they were down by 6 last night, came back to make it a 2-run game, but just couldn't get it done in that 9th inning.
Bourne did a really good job tacking on as that game went on. You see a one spot in the 3rd. You go later in that game, 3 straight innings from the 5th all the way to the 7th, where Bourne was scoring runs in the top half over and over again. Ethan Conrad continues to swing a very hot bat, another 4-hit performance for now the Wake Forest transfer. So Bourne had their chances. The 9th inning is what we talked about, and it kind of hurt the Braves. We saw a lack of fight and not being able to stay in the box and own it. Striking out looking late in a baseball game can't go down for the Braves, but the fight was there. You want to see more of a consistent fight and not having to be down by 6 runs through the first 2 innings of play.
And another interesting storyline today, Joe Arriola going to make his first start of the summer, and he is yet to make a start with Wake Forest in 2 years.
Yeah, 30 innings for them, and he was not able to start a game. He had 5 innings or 5 appearances during summer ball last summer as a starter, so we'll see if that can translate here for another summer ball team, but we'll see how far Arriola can go. And we talked previously during our pregame show that Tyler Fay, the last time he relieved, he went 5 innings out of the bullpen, so you wonder if Arriola goes 3. Is Fay kind of that long reliever? Scott Landers, a lot of questions here tonight. You give Arriola the ball, you have to hope that he can go 3 or 4 innings, and you don't want another bullpen game as we saw last night.
4th of July, nothing better than some game night baseball. We're ready to go for Game 3 of the summer between the Bravos and the Gatemen here on the Bourne Braves Baseball Network. First pitch coming up next. There's nothing better than some baseball on July 4th, and we're ready for Game 2 of this two-game set between the Bourne Braves and the Wareham Gatemen here on the Bourne Braves Baseball Network. And we welcome you to the Bourne Braves Baseball Network. Nathan Schwartz and Cam Manna, please be with you here on the 4th. Hope you are enjoying your festivities and now can enjoy some baseball as Joe Arriola gets the ball for the Bravos.
And we just talked about it during our open. 30 innings at Wake Forest in 2 seasons, has not started 1 game, so we'll see what his endurance level is here for the Braves and how deep they may have to go into their bullpen. But in his appearances so far, he's been solid out of the bullpen. You just want to see more consistency from Arriola and not get hit as hard. Command his zone, low in the zone early.
He's made 4 appearances with Bourne so far this summer. He's 1-0 with a 4.05 ERA across 6 2/3 innings, where he's struck out 8 batters and walked 5. And he last appeared on Friday against Katuitt, where he went 1 inning and gave up 1 earned run. As for the Wareham lineup, Brendan Summerhill will lead off and be in center field. Bobby Bozer had a big day yesterday. He bats second and plays second. Murph Gray, the third baseman, will bat third. Jace Reinhart, the left fielder, will bat fourth. Eli Putnam playing first base, bats fifth. Jacob Gerald, the DH, bats sixth. Antonio Jimenez, the shortstop, will bat seventh. Colby Turner in right field bats eighth. And Gio Cueto, coming over from Brewster, will do the catching and bat ninth. As we're ready to go, the first pitch on July 4th from Dorn Park is a called strike on the outer half and a good start for Joe Arriola in his first start with the Bravos. This is Brendan Summerhill leading things off for Wareham tonight. Was 1 for 4 with a walk yesterday as Arriola misses to make it 1-1. But a great summer so far for Brendan Summerhill. Tied for the team lead in average at .311. Also tied for the team lead in hits with 14. And he shoots one on the ground up the middle through the really saturated grass here at Dorn Park and to Chris Stanfield in center for the game's first hit.
And what the Gatemen have done so well in their last 2 victories over Bourne and Harwich is they've struck in the first inning with just 1 run. They did it last night, and then back on Saturday against the Mariners, they scored 1 run early, and it all starts with Summerhill at the top of this order.
And that gives way to Bobby Bozer, who came into yesterday's game with only 1 RBI on the season. He had 6 yesterday on 2 big base hits, a grand slam in the second and a 2-run single in the 6th. He scores to bunt here, however, on the first pitch. It gets away from Guzman, trickling up the first base side, and that allows Summerhill to get to second base. Pretty funky hop right there from Guzman. It was called a ball, so a 1-0 count to begin to Bozer.
And that rain has calmed down, too, so you'll see the adjustments made. And from Arriola right now, the mound, a little bit tougher to make your best friend after the rain.
Arriola now has to work out of a jam with a runner in scoring position and nobody out, but he fires in a strike to even this count between him and Bobby Bozer, who's hitting .289 across 14 games this summer. That grand slam yesterday, his second homer of the summer. And he spurs to bunt here. Arriola throws to first. That's Ben Hartle over at first base for the Bravos tonight. And he makes the catch for the first out as we take a look at this Bourne defense. From left to right in the outfield, it'll be Davis Gillespie, Chris Stanfield, and Ethan Conrad. Left to right in the infield, Nick Wang making his first appearance with the Bravos at third. Clay Grady at short. Blake Barthel plays second. Ben Hartle, who just made that catch, he's at first. With Adonis Guzman back behind the plate for Bourne here on the 4th. And now here's Murph Gray hitting in that 3 spot for Wareham. First pitch inside on that cutter from Arriola. It's a 4-pitch mix for the Wake Forest junior. A fastball, a curveball, a cutter, and a splitter. Summerhill, the leadoff man at third base here, and a 1-0 count. It evens after the strike to Gray, who's hitting .277 so far through 13 games. 13 hits. One of the top hitters on this Gatemen squad. 1-1 again inside from the left arm of Arriola.
And when Arriola does miss, it does come to the inner part of the plate against righties. Comes around a little bit from his left arm. And you want to bear down here once again against Gray, middle of this order.
Runner on third, 1 away for the Gatemen. And a line drive foul off the bat of Murph Gray as the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. I mean, we talked about this in the pregame show, but the importance of getting ahead for Bourne is going to be crucial in this game, but already with a runner on third, really here you just want to limit the damage. 2-2. Off the end of the bat to Barthel at second base. He makes the throw to first, and 3 batters in. The Gatemen have a 1-0 lead thanks to the RBI groundout from Murph Gray.
And 3 straight games for the Gatemen with at least 1 run in the first inning. Starts with Summerhill, moves over on some tough pitching from Areola. He gets the next 2 to go down, but Gray, a good piece of hitting in that spot with 1 down, runner 90 feet away. Ground ball right side does the job.
Now that clears the bases, nobody on, 2 away, a 1-0 Wareham lead for Jace Reinhardt, the West Virginia product, who takes strike 1 on the inner half. And for Reinhardt, coming over from USC Upstate, where he spent his first 3 seasons, ended his season on a 12-game hitting streak this spring. And he's quickly down 0-2, with a 366 average with the Spartans of USC Upstate and a 298 average through 13 games with the Gatemen. As Areola trying to get out of this inning in his first start of the summer. His 0-2 pitch, that kicks off the back foot of Reinhardt, and he's going to reach first base. It's the 3rd time the cleanup hitter for Wareham has been hit this summer.
And last night we saw Sam White in the 5 spot get hit by a pitch. That also came on a 2-strike count. That was Sparks last night. The Gatemen were hit by 2 pitches last night as well. So Bourne hurting themselves once again in a count where you want to put your pitch away, have that final go.
Eli Putnam into the batter's box for Wareham. 311 average. That's tied for the team lead with Brendan Summerhill in that leadoff spot. As we see a throw over from Joe Areola, who just gave up his 4th earned run of the summer through now 7 1/3 innings. This being his 5th appearance with Bourne here in 2024. First pitch of the at-bat to Putnam, fouled straight back. And for Putnam, not only that tied for team lead in average, but tied for the team lead in hits, doubles, home runs, and he has the team lead in slugging percentage. A real weapon for this Gateman squad in the middle of the order.
And a really true guy in what he was able to do this spring. 352 hitter at Davidson, 16 homers. Just has a really smooth righty swing.
Reinhardt giving way to the first base bag. That pitch upstairs, and Guzman will hold back on the pickoff attempt as the count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. Big spot here for Areola. Has faced some adversity in the bullpen throughout the summer so far, but getting his first nod to open the game for the Bravos, and we really don't know what the entire plan is here. There is a ton of guys that are active, or at least going to be active in the bullpen tonight for Bourne. A ton of guys that haven't thrown since late last week. And the 1-1, a swing and a miss on that breaking ball from Areola. Puts him up 1-2. But for Areola, only 13 innings this spring. 13 1/3 last spring with Wake Forest. And 16 last summer in the Coastal Plain League. Who knows how long he'll go today. And on the 1-2, a foul ball just past the Bourne dugout.
And Bourne's going to need him to go a certain distance here, and you don't want to have another night like last night where your starter's out into the 4th inning, can't finish the 4th inning, and you're already have given up 6 runs. You need Areola to keep things level, keep things in a chance for the Bourne offense.
Already 1 run in for the Gatemen here in the top of the 1st. And another one that's going to clip the back foot of a Gatemen hitter. Reinhardt and Putnam get hit on that right foot on back-to-back at-bats. And that's going to put 2 runners on base for Wareham here in top 1.
Yeah, that slider from Areola to righties right now is just missing completely. And it's a pitch maybe right now he has to move away from. He can't find it. He's ahead in the count. These are 2-strike hit-by pitches with 2 outs. That cannot be happening right now. So now you got to kind of command your fastball, battle the elements, and finish strong in this inning.
And now Jacob Jarrell, who didn't appear yesterday for Wareham, but did have a good game in the first matchup between these 2 squads. He'll start up 1-0 against Areola. We start to see some movement heading towards the Bourne bullpen in the top of the 1st. 1-0 changeup will find the middle of the plate as Areola evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. But absolutely crucial here for Areola to get out of this inning where it stands. Wareham went up 6-0 in yesterday's loss for the Bravos. 1-1 fastball elevated. And so far, Areola just all over the place. Down and in with the breaking stuff, and the fastball has missed high, missed outside, and low at times as well.
And cannot lose him here on a 2-1. Don't allow 3-1.
It is down in the dirt, so a 3-1 count for Jacob Jarrell, the Clemson product, as the Gatemen look to load the bases in an early inning, just like they did yesterday. It was the second inning where Bobby Bozer capitalized with the grand slam to make it 6-0 Wareham. Here is that 3-1 from Areola. It's upstairs for ball 4, and that's 3 consecutive free passes issued by the Wake Forest southpaw.
And now for Areola over that 20-pitch mark through this first inning, not even done with the top half. And as we alluded to, Zach Crotchfeld walked out to the bullpen from the dugout. Another lefty there for the Braves, and we'll see how loose he gets heading into that second inning.
And now the Gatemen, presented with a very similar situation as they were yesterday. Bases loaded in the early going of the game. First pitch curveball from Areola to Antonio Jimenez is called a strike. For Jimenez, the UCF sophomore, a 175 average this summer. Breaking ball fouled back as Areola works ahead 0-2. Jimenez spent his freshman season at Miami. Hit 182 this spring with a couple of homers and 7 doubles. But will make the move to Central Florida this fall. That pitch up on his hands, and some chin music will get him out of the box a little bit, get him out of that groove as the count moves to 1-2 strikes. Bases loaded for the Gatemen. Already a 1-0 Wareham lead. This one gets away from Guzman. The flip will not be made to Areola, and the wild pitch makes it 2-0 Gatemen.
Just an ugly start here for the Braves, and not one that you want to come and start with after a loss last night that was very tough on the road, a slow start once again. You wanted to see some traction and some energy early, and not commanding the zone is Areola right now. Has to bear down here, 2-1 count. Cannot lose another hitter. 3 straight free passes or hit by pitches to these last 3 batters.
Areola had not hit a batter coming into tonight's game across his 4 appearances. He's hit 2, and he walked Jarrell. That was his 6th walk of the summer. Now a 2-2 count with 2 away, and a 2-0 Wareham lead. The pitch fouled straight back. And this is something the Gatemen did in yesterday's game in particular, is just be a scrappy bunch, fight with 2 strikes, finally get that pitch they want, and then execute with it. A lot of extra base hits yesterday for the Gatemen at Spillane Field. Another 2-2, another curveball, another ball from Areola, who's in danger of issuing a 4th consecutive free pass, which would load the bases once again.
And the curveball's not there. 3-2, 2 away. Have to challenge Jimenez here with a fastball no matter what.
Payoff pitch from Areola. He gets Jimenez to chase above the zone for the inning's 3rd out. But the Gatemen, 2 runs on 1 hit as the Gatemen take a 2-0 lead heading into bottom 1 here on July 4th from Dorn Park.
The Braves would like to give a warm Dorn Park welcome to the families of Tyler Fay, John Abraham, Garrett Michelle, Ben Vibey, and Zane Adams. Fans, welcome to Dorn Park on the campus of Upper Cape Technical High School. You will notice some improvements of the fan areas of the field this season, and we would like to thank our partners at Upper Cape Tech for creating such a great environment to watch baseball. Please be respectful of campus while visiting by picking up trash, not throwing balls against buildings, and staying out of areas that are closed off. Enjoy the game. The Bourne Braves, the Cape Cod Baseball League, and the NCAA would like to remind you that this is a tobacco-free ballpark. Additionally, the Massachusetts Education Reform Act prohibits the use of any tobacco products at this location. We greatly appreciate your assistance in honoring this tobacco-free request.
The Gatemen take an early lead against the Bravos for the second time in as many days. It's 2-0 Wareham as we start the bottom half of the first here on July 4th. And the Bravos will send Blake Barthel, Clay Grady, and Ethan Conrad to the plate against the junior right-hander from Florida State for the Gatemen, Yoel Tejeda on the mound.
Yeah, and for Tejeda, he knows the Braves well. Had 2 appearances here at Dorn Park last summer against his Braves lineup. He stands at 6'8", 215, throws with a lot of power as well, and his only start so far this summer was very good against Chatham. 4 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs, did allow a run. So he's a guy, once again, for this Gateman staff that has struggled. He's one of the bright spots that they've seen so far.
Only his second appearance of the 2024 summer right here. He threw 4 innings against Chatham last Thursday, gave up 1 unearned run on 5 hits, struck out 5, looking to keep up with the dominance that he had last summer here at Dorn Park. Between those 2 appearances, 7 2/3 innings, 6 hits, only 1 earned run with 9 strikeouts for Tejeda, who hails from Coral Springs, Florida, and plays for the Florida State Seminoles during his spring seasons. As Blake Barthel gets a chance to lead off for the first time this summer, and the first pitch he sees is outside. And we go back to that interesting decision last night by Scott Landers and the rest of the coaching staff to pinch hit Barthel in the top half of the 9th inning, as the count works in favor of Coastal Carolina's second baseman, 2-0.
And just dominant season. He was top 10 in RBIs, top 5 in hits in the Sun Belt, one of the best hitters in the country.
2-0 fastball fouled straight back off the netting.
And now he replaces Penny at the top of this order, and we talked about it on the broadcast last night from Wareham, is this lineup ran through Penny as that go-to guy at the top of the order. Now it has to change. What can Barthel bring to the table?
2-1 takes. Called a strike by our home plate umpire tonight, Jake Brichta, on this July 4th. Started as a great day here in Bourne and the Buzzards Bay area, but some rain pregame. And now the 2-2. Down and in to Barthel.
Yeah, beautiful parade this morning, and we'll hear from our Sideline reporter Adam Gotkin in just a little bit, but this night's fully shifted now with the weather.
Barthel looking for his second hit of the summer, and he sends one on a line to right field. Colby Turner can't get there, nearly skips past him. But that's what you want your leadoff hitter to do. Blake Barthel with his second hit as a Bravo.
And he's pumped up, too, right there, and knew we needed that one after that first hit against YD last night in Ophir. He's had some good ABs, 2 RBIs last night, but that's a pitch on the inner part of the plate. You're protecting with 2 strikes, keeps his hands through, and a good start for the Braves, looking to respond, trailing by 2.
2 RBIs yesterday for Barthel, hitting in that cleanup spot. He was 1 for 5 coming into the game, and now 2 for 6. And he leads off of first base for Clay Grady, the shortstop tonight. Will likely take over as the everyday shortstop now with Jack Penny and Merrick Houston both off the roster. Grady so far this summer, a 172 average with 5 hits, 3 RBIs. And he's 0 for 7 against the Gatemen this season. The Bravos looking to get at least 1 run back. Soft chopper to third. Murph Gray throws to second for the first out. The relay will not be made by Bobby Bozer, who played third base yesterday, makes the move to second base. And the Bravos will just trade runners with Grady on the fielder's choice.
Grady there just looking fastball, gets an off speed, and pulls his head out, just out in front. And you wonder there, too, when Barthel got on. Grady in the 2 spot has some speed. Maybe Bourne had the bunt on, but they decided to let Grady swing on the first 2. And now they have to reset, but Grady does have speed. 5 stolen bags this summer.
And now the hottest hitter in the Cape, coming to the plate in Ethan Conrad. 4 hits yesterday. 2 4-hit games in his last 3. The first pitch down low by Tejeda. And for Conrad, we talked about it last night, but came to this Bourne team last Monday. Since then has had 16 hits, which is now tied for the team lead with Braden Holcomb as the 1-0 fouled straight back. But for Holcomb, he's been here the whole summer. He's been here since that first game on June 15th here against Orleans. Conrad misses the first week and a half, comes into this lineup and made an immediate impact and has fit perfectly into that 3-hole. 1-1 slider from Tejeda gets Conrad to chase, something we haven't seen a whole lot of.
And he's kind of woken up the Cape to show that he's in that most valuable player race, depending on what he's done so far and how he continues to get more at-bats. He's really put a lot of people on notice as that transfer from Marist to Wake Forest.
He's hitting .571 over the first 7 games, and now he grounds one to Jimenez at short. Bozer's throw to first, not in time, and that's back-to-back fielders' choices by the Bravos.
Just the Braves trading runners here. Conrad just gets on top of that one. Good pitches from Tejeda. He's making it tough. Even on the Barthel single, these are inside pitches, and the one to Grady outside. They're painted right now. Tough to put a really good swing on it when you're seeing Tejeda for the first time. And now Bourne once again, runner on, and then you trade it out.
And so we get Braden Holcomb to the dish right here for the Bravos, who did pinch hit for Barthel last night in that 9th inning and struck out looking. One of 2 backwards Ks for the Bravos in that 9th inning as they tried to mount a 2-run comeback to tie the game. Wareham wound up winning 8-6 as Tonko Suzak got the save, and Holcomb up 1-0, hitting .308, which leads the qualified players on Bourne's team so far through his first 14 games. As I mentioned, tied with Conrad with 16 hits. There goes Conrad on the 1-0. The throw by the backstop, and Cueto's not in time. And Ethan Conrad, this is another part to his game that's going to put him in all-star contention. That's now his 9th stolen base so far with Bourne.
And I was just going to say, if he didn't steal on that pitch, I was actually just in my head being like, this is a great spot to steal for Conrad. You have had a tough time right now with a few ground balls, and Conrad's speed, not many players can throw him out in the Cape. You get an off-speed there, and tough for Cueto to make that transfer.
Cueto spent the first couple of weeks with Brewster, was released, and then picked up by Wareham almost immediately. 2-0 breaking ball inside to Braden Holcomb, who's now up in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. And Holcomb's been seeing the ball much better as of late. He's up to 5 walks, on base percentage at .368. Did have a couple of walks in the first matchup between Wareham and Bourne back on the 22nd. 3-0 fastball finding the inside corner for Tejeda. But Holcomb's an interesting guy in this Bourne lineup. We've talked about the 16 hits, 15 of them being singles. He just demolishes the ball during